As a kid, I would often ignore my Wii and PS3 just to play games on my iPod Touch instead. But what did the mobile games I played have over the big budget games on consoles? How has the mobile game market developed since then? These are the questions we're going to answer today as we explore the good, the bad, and the ugly of the games on the early iOS App Store. As Flash games began their slow and steady decline in popularity, mobile games rose up to take their place. Games on phones had existed since like Nokia's Snake, but with the iPhone's touchscreen came the potential for ambitious new projects that built off of Flash games' groundwork. Suddenly, games like Copter became Flappy Bird, Throw Paper was Paper Toss, and Bejeweled became Candy Crush. The App Store was a brand new frontier, a constant stream of ideas and, stick figures? Like a lot of stick figure games for some reason. The App Store provided me with a buffet of games from a wealth of genres, most of which were free. I was no longer limited by my $20 a month allowance. Now, I could download as many games as I wanted. Some of which I probably wouldn't have been able to play normally, but it is what it is. Plus, I could even play some old games that I missed out on. I somehow beat almost the entirety of Mega Man 2 on the worst touchscreen controls known to man. This eventually led me to playing the real, better versions of these games later on in life, but my favorite games were the ones that were unique to mobile. Games that couldn't have worked on any other system. Arguably the most popular genre of mobile games were endless runners, arcadey games that involved you trying to avoid obstacles for as long as possible, the difficulty ramping up the further you ran. The most vanilla of these games was Temple Run, where after plundering an ancient indigenous artifact from its home culture to take back to the British Museum,
it belongs in a museum!
You were chased down by these admittedly horrifying demon monkeys. Temple Run established the baseline, but soon enough there were a bunch of games innovating on this formula. Subway Surfers, Alto's Odyssey, even goddamn Flappy Bird all added a twist on the endless runner genre to make for a fun pick-up-and-play experience. These endless runners were perfectly suited to the iPhone. You could play a quick run and go on with your day. There is one endless runner that I'm ignoring, but don't worry, we'll get there. The App Store was also home to a lot of non-games, most of which were dumb as hell, like the pregnancy testers, lie detectors, and ghost communicators. But some of these apps stood out, being genuinely fun tools that took advantage of the hardware. For example, God, no. Script, oh God! Action Movie Effects, a software that lets you add over-the-top visual effects to any video. I got an unjustifiable amount of hours out of this app, even coughing up the extra dough for additional FX packs. There was also Gun Movie Effects, which let us kids transform our Nerf guns into laser rifles and sick-shooting revolvers. Even GarageBand allowed simple, intuitive music production for someone who had no idea how any of that shit worked. Still don't. Don't get me wrong, there were a lot of terrible apps that fell under this category, but the best of them transformed my stupid iPod into something more, encouraging me to get creative. Real quick, I want to take a look at my 3 favorite mobile games and what they did right. Number 3 has got to be Talking Bacteria John, and John. Wait, fuck. TrueScape. Yeah, Skate 3 is one of my favorite games from the 7th generation of consoles, and TrueScape is a perfect way to translate skateboarding games to mobile. The controls are super intuitive, and the game is basically a sandbox where you can hit 420 reverse nollie impossibles to your heart's content. Number 2 is going to be Talking Gina the Giraffe. Wait, no, I meant... Ridiculous Fishing. Yeah, this game has a dope-ass art style, a really satisfying progression system, and gameplay that is super well suited to the iPhone. Shouts out to tilt controls that actually work. And finally, my favorite mobile game of all time is Talking Roby C. Jetpack Joyride. Jetpack Joyride is the peak of the endless runner genre. It's got charm, an addicting gameplay loop and progression system, fun cosmetic upgrades and power-ups, and a surprisingly high skill ceiling. I have beaten this game 3 separate times, and I still go back every once in a while to get in a run or two. It's that goddamn good. While the heyday of iOS games may seem to be over, Apple is still trying to keep it alive with its arcade service. Arcade, if you didn't know, is a subscription service offered by Apple that gives you access to a bunch of higher quality games for like $5 a month. And while the price of admission may be a bit steep for some, and I totally get that, there's some genuinely great stuff on there, a lot of great new titles, and even some remasters and revamps of old ones. Plus, the curation and moderation means you don't have to sift through a ton of so-so games just to find a gem or two. The other advantage of the arcade is no advertisements or microtransactions, which is honestly so refreshing. The service has really gotten a lot better since its launch, and it'll only continue to improve as they add more and more games. However, outside of the curated bubble of the arcade, the ecosystem of the App Store is not really looking that great. Non-arcade mobile games have become riddled with aggressive microtransactions and advertisements even more than before. And these mobile game publishers are just pulling concepts from free-to-play multiplayer games and porting them over to their own. Clash Royale has a goddamn Battle Pass system, and other games aren't doing much better. Even my beloved Jetpack Joyride. And while I was singing the praises of the arcade, I don't know if it has the longevity or the subscription numbers to be a long-term solution. A lot of this might just be the nostalgia wearing off, and me just growing out of playing iOS games, but it does seem like the landscape of the non-arcade App Store has shifted even more towards a commodified, microtransaction-laden system. However, it's games like Mini Motorways, Shantae, and Fantasian that give me hope for this new generation of mobile games. So, Apple, no whammies?